Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It is time to kick off another day of the QPL World Championship. This is day 2. I'm DJ Wheat, joined by 40 Lions and ZSX. See, they hate us, so they put us on the morning crew, but the joke's on them because we love Quake. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. And thank you to all those beautiful faces that are out there this morning. I hope you have a cup of coffee like we all do, unless you're 40 Lions and you've got energy drink and a cookie and cheesecake probably. But gentlemen, good morning. We had a great day 1. We saw some players advance on and really surprise us. Saw other players fall. We saw Cooler eliminated, all of that and more. And we're going to talk about day 1 as well as what you can expect in day 2. But let's just get right into the action and let's watch some of the amazing games, frags, players from day 1 of the QPL World Championship. Here's your recap. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the kickoff of QuakeCon and the Quake Pro League World Championship.
He's just going to have to go and tunnel down in the bunker of the heavy area and hope that he connects with the first rocket. And he does! Deletes him!
It's 2-0. Pasita up early here, almost catches him out and does with another rail. Oh my god, he almost hit that second one.
I mean, this is the European Maxter or something. He just connected with rail on rail on rail.
Here's Garby trying not to get bounced around this time. Good LG, good positioning. He's able to grab the heavy, does eat a rail, but all things considered, not as bad as last time here. Big rocket around the corner with the conversion in the air.
Oh
Garby.
My god!
Wow!
All 3 totems are here. Kron hasn't had the chance to go down there once. He gets one of the totems now, but even then, oh, right in the top of the head does go. Oh! 7 seconds away from a Mega, and with the piercing sight here, Kron cannot challenge it, and that is a completely free shot, and actually 2 for the price of 1!
He put himself in good first rail, managed to hit the second, he's going to try and go for the third, which he does. Will he get the fourth? He does not need to, as the pineapple comes out 3 for 3. Now just trying to find another angle onto Effortless. Hits the first rail, but actually comes straight through. Hits the second, even if he didn't expect it. Good clean frag again.
Big direct rocket followed by a second follow-up 7.
Unless he has a drastic step change and gets some crazy shots, he's losing control of this map.
There's a heavy pickup as well. Bull rush around the corner. Can he even make it to do damage? And Sib wisely drops down, lobs a pineapple in his direction. A little bit of a rail as well. Another rail.
My word.
Mega saves Davis's life here.
He's still going forward. Why is he still going forward?
Somehow turns it into a trade.
Back into the corner though, another injection to make life even worse, but he's now stuck. Oh, right as he swaps to Rocket, Coolum calls it out.
He's showing a lot of confidence here. Again, reading chain, catching him down below, bouncing him around. Eats a totem on his way out. Gonna punch him as well!
Oh, yes! Are you kidding me?
Taking a little bit of damage from CNZ, but not too bad. Is he gonna get there on time? He is, just to do a lot of damage, and there's the shaft, there's the peeker play. I don't know if that's what he wanted, but the rail comes out, but Cypher's just too strong, takes frag number 1. He's positioning for this heavy, and instead of going for the peeker, he's just gonna melt the strong, but he still can't do it, and there's the pickup after the rail, and that was some Cypher stuff. Wow.
we're not looking to go over aggressive. If we can win by 1 frag now, we'll definitely take it. The aggressive rocket jump, and Razy connects.
They're knowing that Razy doesn't yet have all the weapons after respawning.
Ooh,
Nice.
He takes a flame strike, but not before he returns a rail.
Abbott can keep that aggression up and continue to be a real pain in the backside towards the hang and stop him from getting weapons in his arsenal before things kind of escalate later on. But great try ball into that rail. Info on where the hang was going to go, but the all put him all the way up in the air and missed out on some of the damage potential, and Avik managed to take him down.
Can't break through here as one rail. There's the dire orb in. Good distraction there, but he actually takes it at the last second too. 29 HP, and he lights him up going up the jump pad. Oh, but face! Maxter smells blood. He's setting up the shot, just missing out.
But what awareness by Base. He didn't actually jump down, and Maxter's risk costs him the mega. Yes, he got the frag, but it cost him so much effective HP.
As good as the other one, sadly for him, and the LG coming out for Rafa. Garby has to back away. Will he be able to get away though? Good rocket, that's not going
100
to be
still.
enough. And yeah, that was close indeed. This is good from Garby. Just make sure things don't get spiraled out of control too much. But as I said, it's only taking a huge amount of damage as well as that orb. And that mid-air rocket is going to do itself justice here. His own. And that was a beautiful rail just to clean up for that full frag. May actually taken down again, but decides to prioritize the high ground. And then he's dropping down straight away. Good first rail and just using the orb for good measure.
Gentlemen, we saw some great action yesterday, and I expect today is going to be even better than day one. Any thoughts? You know, we got a chance to speak to everyone on the panel, but I don't think I got a chance to ask you all. But after the day was said and done, was there any one game, match, frag that absolutely stood out as like, this was it for me? 40?
I mean, I just want to say shouts to Pasita again for the relegation game. He was so close to overcoming Garpy, came down to the wire, and I think Pasita had a great run, and we'll definitely hopefully see him again.
Yeah, I was going to say Pasita Garpy was stand-up, but also Base, just his progression, like beating Chain, who put up a good performance, and then also going one step further after that. He looks really hot and somebody to watch out for going into the bracket.
Yeah, speaking of, here are your updated brackets. This is a result of all the games that were played yesterday. And today, don't worry, we've got you covered. There's going to be nearly 20 matches today across both of our streams right here on /Quake as well as over on /Quake 2. We'll keep you updated as best we can about when those are happening and some of the results that you'll be getting. But we all know, you know, you're all smart Quake fans. You're going to have both those streams up and running and use one eyeball to watch one and one to watch the other one. So here's our schedule for the day. Kicking things off with ZenAku versus Sparty. Then we'll move on to Kilson Waz, Wenger versus Sib, Rafa Avik, and then of course that schedule will get to be filled out more and more as players advance and as players drop down to the lower bracket. A lot of today will be playing through the lower bracket. So you know what that means, gentlemen. It means that we're going to have some players eliminated. This will be the final day of the tournament for many. Tomorrow, of course, being tournament, Saturday, the finals. So based off of what we're seeing here, any immediate matches where you're like, can't wait, that's the one? You know, there was about 4 or 5 listed right there. What are you most excited for today?
I would say Rafa Avik. That looks pretty fantastic. I mean, again, Rafa working on the stairway to seven potential QuakeCon titles. The quad father, as you've mentioned, but Avik is looking so strong. That matchup should be great. And also the first one we're about to get into, Zanaku Sparty for me. Dan, I'm not really sure what you're eyeballing, but let me know.
No, I pinpointed Zanaku as a bit of a dark horse yesterday, and I think he's actually got his work cut out against Sparty, because when Sparty turns up, which he did yesterday, he can beat anyone and might cause a bit of problems the way Zanaku plays. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Kilson. I know a lot of people, and maybe even me, have put their money on Kilson taking this one home, and he always turns up at the big occasion. So we get to see him today.
And who's Kilson playing first again?
Waz.
Oh yeah, Waz.
Wazzle
Yeah,
Dazzle.
that should the
Wazzle
Wazzle Dazzle. Indeed. Yeah, that'll be our second matchup for today. We're also then going to be seeing Cypher, Razy, and Base as we fill out the upper bracket into the quarterfinals. That's going to basically be the middle of the day, and then we'll put our focus and attention on the lower bracket, both on the B and the A stream as well. So let's do it. I mean, I think we're at a point we can start talking about our first matchup today. Of course, the regular cast characters will be back throughout the day, but you've got 40 Lines and ZSX hitting our first game, Zanaku versus Sparty. ZSX, you already kind of brought up Zanaku. You think he's playing well. You were impressed with him yesterday, but also acknowledge that he's got his work cut out for him against Sparty. Talk to us a little bit about Zanaku. You know, what'd you see yesterday that was kind of made that twinkle in your eye happen?
I didn't actually see Zanaku yesterday. I think it's his first map. I talk about Sparty in that side of things, but Zanaku has just been getting better and better all season long. He was somebody that obviously struggled to stay in the league for at least one stage, but ever since then has grown, as we were talking about for a long time, just seemed to be finding his strategy, his role in the league, and definitely seems to have found his feet and now has much more of a varied play style. I think he was very much an ABC character before, but now he's incredibly proactive, and at least in the last 2 weeks has been taking maps off people like Rafa and really pushing the best players to the limit. So as you can see from these results, I think he's a bit of an underdog here. He's just quietly built his way through the league to a point where he got up to a second seed, you know, overtaking the Hang.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have ever put any money on that at the start of this last stage. So definitely look out for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. Probably one of the, I don't know, most improved players, I would say. There's been a handful, but definitely up there, as you mentioned, just huge strides and not only getting better at the fundamentals, but kind of coming into his own in terms of bringing his own strategy and his own little flavor to how he wants to play. He's talked about it on interviews, how he's kind of tried to emulate other player styles while finding his own, and I think he's starting to get there, and he's starting to figure out exactly how he wants to approach the game depending on the map and the player he's going up against. So it's fantastic to see, and I think between these two, I mean, we'll get into the pick bans in a second, but I think Rail is going to be very important for both these players.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Sparty then. You know, you mentioned Rail. Sparty's looked really good in his initial matchup versus Kron. And, you know, Sparty's always one of those players that surprised me. You know, he has a pretty significant legacy as far as arena FPS is concerned. And he's one of those players, because I feel like we're the same. I think he plays with some emotion. Sometimes that can really work for him. Sometimes it can work against him. But, you know, I like to see that emotion Sparty really come into and come to life in the arena. Yeah,
100%. And it's always with the case of Sparty is which Sparty's going to turn up today. But the reason I actually think he's got a decent chance against Zanaku, despite the disparate, you know, results in the league, is the fact that Zanaku tends to struggle a bit more against mechanically gifted players. If you look at his results, he lost to both Maxter and Nosfra in the later stages, both of which were hard hitters and played a very hard-hitting game against him. And so whilst he's got a good rounded game, he does struggle if people have got a better damage output than him. And that's something Sparty can bring in spades if he turns up. And yesterday we saw that he was at level above Hron, who I didn't really expect to struggle as much against Sparty as he did. One, because he was hitting so well, but secondly, because he was playing the really rounded and experience-based game that he has in his locker. It's just, can he bring it again today?
I mean, regardless of how you feel about Sparty, you have to give it to him. He has the best power stance in the game, gentlemen.
He does. And we've been rating the poses over the last day or so. So, well, gentlemen, Zanaku versus Sparty is going to kick off day 2. Let's see if we can get the picks and bans up, because I know that the chat is eager to let the Gibbs fly and get to the action. Here are our map picks for this game. We've got Deep Embrace, then moving on to Awoken, and finally Exile as our potential decider map. Who wants to talk us through our champs?
Dan, you can probably run us through. I just want to make a note that it makes complete sense that Corrupted Keep is out because, again, both these players just want to use that rail to their advantage. Sparty can just pop off and turn into a little bit of a railson situation. Zanaku really shapes his game around the rail and being able to open up his game and then aggress off of that. So Doom versus Athena, Ranger versus Strog, and Sorlag versus Visor. Dan, how do you break that down for us?
What I'm a bit worried about for Sparty is the exile on the Visor. We've seen Visor coming out a bit more this tournament, much more than I expected it to, but he's also picked it into the Sorlag, which definitely leaves him open to the speed and aggression that ZenAku can bring out. So that's the one I'm a little bit worried about from a Sparty point of view. But the rest across the board is fairly standard. The counter on the Athena and Deep is a little bit interesting. I don't think I've seen Sparty play Athena an awful lot, so that's going to be intriguing to see how effective he is there. But he's picked it, so he must be very, very confident, and we know what Athena can bring, particularly on Deep Embrace. And as 40's already mentioned, it does let him play that rail game even better than the Doom. So Athena's probably the one champion you can outmaneuver Doom on Deep, and if he does that, then he's in for a great shout. But Awoken, we know what we're going to get out of the Ranger and the Strog, fairly standard there. And as I've already pointed, you really have to play around that piercing sight extremely well, as we saw Base did yesterday when he picked it on Ruins. You can do it in XL, but you're definitely more exposed on XL than you are on a map like Ruins.
I'm eager to see the Athena game as well. I have not seen Sparty play that one. Doesn't mean that he hasn't. I just am not recalling any particular games. And then, just to comment on the Visor pick, I think the most important thing that I've taken away from the Visor picks the last day and even into the season a little bit is you have to be playing that mid to long range game if you're gonna play Visor, right? I think the mistake comes in is when suddenly you want to get up close and personal versus Sorlag. Not really going to work out really well, but we saw yesterday some amazing examples of how you play the keep away Visor. You really use that vision, get those free rails, and then run with it. So as long as Sparty sticks to that game plan, which is kind of necessary on XL anyway, I could see it being successful, but this will definitely be a test for both players for sure.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think the Cypher game on Awoken was a perfect example. Like when we talked about it at the time when he picked Visor, he didn't even approach the middle ground because he just could not compete with the Doom, I think it was at that time, who had the maneuverable advantage. So you have to play to Visor's strength and you have to keep strong on that strategy, because if you get drawn into a man fight, particularly the Sorlag, you're not going to win that one. So Spotty really has to be aware of where his opponent is and position accordingly.
All right, 40, any final thoughts?
Predictions.
Yeah.
So just taking a peek at the predictions, 83% in favor of ZenCoin, skyrocketing. Get in the stonk market right now because apparently map 1 is all Zens, but we'll see. Sparty has the ability to pop off and just go crazy, as well as play a good measured game too, which is a little more rare to see. Sometimes, as you mentioned, a little bit more emotional, tries to just rail a lot, maybe rush a little too much, but we'll see what Sparty we get.
All right, well, gentlemen, take us for a ride. Thanks for being here for day 2 of the QPL World Championship and QuakeCon. I'm going to take back seat, but 40 Lines and ZSX will be taking you on this journey. Gentlemen, I'll see you on the other side.
Take care, Papa. Thanks. Well, we're back at it again, Dan. You're stuck with me. You can't find another partner, I'm sorry.
No, but we're on our journey again to find it safely to Mordor. Little Gimli, how you doing?
Gimli a break. Day 2, kicking it off. Why not? Let's see. Zen versus Sparty. I just want to see 70% rail for both players. I just want it to be an instigate battle, Dan. That's what I want.
Pure mechanics.
I know, it's disgusting. Yeah, pure, items don't even matter. Just instigib. Let's see who has the better rail. No, I think it's going to be a good set. I think ZenAku, again, just making huge strides in his gameplay. But Sparty, he's not, I wouldn't say a sleeper. Everybody knows how good Sparty can be. But as you mentioned, it's kind of which Sparty shows up. And it's really hot and cold. So we're going to see exactly what Sparty we get today, and especially in this first set, getting that momentum. Best of 3s all the way through, going to be huge.
Sparty, when he gets into these positions, is always, as you say, it's a bit inconsistent, a bit erratic. So ZenAku is obviously the safer play here if you're looking at the points. But I always feel that Sparty is just that one step away from going further in the bracket. And like he's been in this position before. He's been in the finals of QuakeCon before, although a long time ago. He's still got that pedigree, he's still got it in his locker, and he played really, really well yesterday. So I think it's a bit undervaluing his status, but we'll see what he brings.
See what he brings indeed as we are live to kick off day number 2, map number 1 between Sparty and Zanaku right now. Zanaku on his way to the LG. He's going to snag that. Definitely wants more weaponry here as he's holding the mid ground with the shotgun, just waiting patiently, trying to figure out where Sparty is before he picks up any more weaponry.
And this is what we're going to have to see out of Zen. And what Zen is going to be really good at is just playing that pacing game, the strategy game. Sparty generally want to go out all guns blazing. He can adapt to that as well, but not the preferred tactic. He's on the Athena though, so he will be the one that has the capability to dictate the tempo a little bit better than Zen, but Doom obviously has a really effective tool set for this map as well.
And Zen playing a little bit of Metal Gear Solid right now, just creeping along, making sure everything's safe. He is going to get in on a rail and hear the heavy pickup as well, so he's got timing on both items.
A lot of respect coming out from Zen, though, as you say, just creeping around the map. But now he's got everything in his disposal. You can see the pace pickup. He's got back on the high ground. And there's the first lick of potential damage. Still 0-0 on that front. Sparty peeks around the corner. Wants to take this engagement. He knows when the item is Zen. It's really early. Not sure exactly if he knows when it is. He's taking bucket loads and indeed does go down. It was a suicide. So he did damage on the way out. But still, 1-0 Sparty.
Yeah, a little bit messy there to start off, unfortunately for Zen. He takes out Zen. A little bit of LG down from Sparty here as he's going to claim his Mega. So not the start that Zen wanted, but Deep Embrace, very fast-paced, especially off the spawn when you open up the game and get that first frag. Spawn rails can be quite the nuisance. Dan is a little bit of a hook play from Sparty up the jump pad just to fake him out. A little bit of a mouth shake. Shake it off, Sparty. Shake it off. First game of the day.
That was definitely not intended. He wanted to get up. He wanted to fight. Because of that, he has lost out on the heavy and stands in a good position to push for this Mega. But perfect initiation rail from Sparty and the follow-up. He's got up aggressively before the spawn. Really wants to push on that frag. And I'm liking what I'm seeing at this point from Sparty. Zen on the ropes a little bit. Sparty's got himself across, but here we go. A bit rusty on the Athena, as we would have expected.
Now he's on the back foot and railable as well. Needs to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, already messed up 2 grapples, so just needs to clean that side of the game up. Cannot afford to give any real latitude to Zen to get into the game as he's doing here. Can't get the follow-up frag, and the tankiness of Zoom will pick up that tying frag.
Reset at 0-all as Zanaku gets that frag. 3 minutes in, and this is one of the slower paced games here as Zanaku with a double jump hits the air rocket, takes down Sparty and takes the lead at 1. Athena, as we've mentioned before, light champion, need to be really careful. If you get too far behind, the mobility is there, but the stack is not. Something to keep in mind here is Sparty only trailing by 1. Zanaku still playing it nice and slow here as he's positioning for the Mega.
Yeah, really needs to do some damage here, but can't. Now Zen has built that stack to a healthy level. Sparty, without a rocket, cannot take this engagement. That's why he's standing right at the back, and eating the rocket will mean he needs to find his exit. So good play by Zen. He's cycling the items well. The question is, can he lock down his opponent? Just patrolling up on that high ground, and Sparty's still without the rocket, so we'll be seeing him play ultra defensive, and Zen will be realizing that, pushing in aggressively, trying to close the gap. Sparty has done a decent job to get away, but there is such a long split between the items at this point. The only way back into this game is to just do insane damage.
Zen trying to connect with the rail, both players missing here.
This is risky.
Good LG here. Ooh, but the rocket's too strong.
Really risky to be pushing in there. He didn't do any damage before then and had, as we said, had no rockets. So not entirely sure what the game plan is from Sparty, but it's only 2 frags behind. 4 minutes is gone though, as this map is whittling away very, very quickly.
And both players hitting 20% and 28% rail respectively. I have jinxed the hell out of it, Dan, by saying I want 70 plus, but performance anxiety, it happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us. 2-0 for Zen. Good rail around the corner there. He does have the shotgun out to try and finish this off. Sparty hanging by a thread. He's going to grab 125 health bubble heavy. Goes to Zen as he misses just barely with that rail. But he's on the hunt. Can the Mega... Wow, what a play from Sparty. Does eat a rail, but the hook into the Mega. But Zen plants him regardless. And he denies that lower armor shard. So Zen's starting to heat up slowly, taking more and more map control. Even though the Mega was sacrificed, he got the frag.
But sacrificing the Mega is a big deal because now Sparty's back into the game, having hit that rail. He's got no resources, and Zen did indeed trade. So Sparty has to find a retreat, but another rail comes out. Can he get across before the spawn? He knows when it is, and he has the grapple, but just out of time and decides just to use the breathing space to pick up the right weaponry to make sure he picks up the Mega. Now, there isn't as big of a split between the two major items. The Sparty has begun to find a way to get back into a level of map control. And he's still only given up 3 frags, so perfectly achievable on Deep Embrace, and that rail will set him up nicely to take the heavy. And once he's done so, then he can go on the aggression.
Really beautiful rail there. Zanaku concedes completely. Trying to hold on to this stack. Might get caught out of this armor shard, but Sparty dropping just at the inopportune time to miss out on some damage. Instead, Zen will give him a little bit of a tickle and still maintain his 3-0 lead here. So we're rounding the 6th minute of map number 1 between these two.
Zen's traded items to map position, so if Sparty wants to push up, it should be doing a decent amount of damage. But that was a nice push by Sparty. Just got enough momentum to not overexpose himself to get onto the high ground. So we can see there will be a big contest for control of this mid-upper level. At the minute, Zen's just going to be skirting himself around, trying to sneak onto the Mega. Just wants to do some damage as Sparty drops down. You can see Sparty trying to find his opponent, expecting the trap, and there we go. Zen's back on the high ground and can defend it if Sparty wants to come up.
There's the hook, good damage, and Zen gets
Bye-bye.
taken out. He gets forced off of the map. Sync is feeding early today. There's the Doom punches. The Berserk doesn't land. Sparty gets another one off. Extremely weak though, Dan.
How much damage did he do? And this is why Zen's come barreling in. He's got the LG, a nice spawn, and now he's nabbed away that heavy. He hasn't got enough time to get across to the Mega, but he might be able to do some damage from above. Big rockets coming out, not connecting. But what he has done once again is get back a level of map control, a map positioning. But without the rail, Sparty can try and pick him apart.
Hook up position for the heavy, but
What?
so early. The tribal getting massive amounts of damage, and there's the ring around the rosy play from ZenAku, and he plants him with a rocket of his own, but he's so weak. Sparty trying to get in there to maybe get the refrag. Drops down and catches him out. ZenAku has to use the Berserk to get out. Should only be a matter of time. This should be easy for Sparty, but no, the tribal just tickling him, not enough damage. Good rail from Zen to pick up his afterwards.
Yeah. But look at that damage, another combo, and Sparty once again on the ropes. You said it was a matter of time, but Zen has got himself into a position to secure this heavy. He doesn't want to get the frag, he just wants to get the item at this point and then push in. He knows how weak Sparty is, and every one of these engagements just buys a bit more time and a bit more breathing space. So we have a big Mega coming up, and Zen's going to drop down nice and early so he can secure it.
That was just an insane swing of momentum right there. Zanaku down to like 25 HP tops, turns it all around with great rails. And now he has the stack advantage as well as holding on to his 2 frag lead. Sparty trying to get a little creative here, as he has to. Tri-bolts, no rockets, does have LG and rail, but he only has less than 2 minutes to get these 2 frags as well.
And you can see because of the timing, Zen has gone right back to basics, trying to play the safest game possible, just securing items, rotating from A to B, making sure he takes as little damage as possible between the two. He is quite early for the Mega, but Sparty's just not doing any damage because Zen hit a rail in between. Sparty was not able to expose himself. And this could be the deciding frag. He's jumping around like a bit of a circus trick there. Nevertheless, Sparty gets away, but look at the weakness again. And Zen is quite happy just to waste time and stay on this item. Lovely though!
Sparty with a beautiful combo there right before the heavy as well, and a rail off the spawn. Zen needs to be careful. He needs to back away, not today. Might get caught out here, and he does, but the Doom punches, are they going to be enough? The big rocket. ZenAku able to grab 2 25s here, and Sparty will grab the Mega comfortably. There's the LG, but Zen pushes into his death.
He gets a bad spawn as well, no weapons to work with. Sparty doesn't even need to chase at this point, he can just secure the heavy for free because Zen's got nothing. Now guns there, that will force Sparty away. He's going in for more? Question mark? But he's made it work.
He bullied Sparty off and he got the frag in. Oh, Zen.
Oh my word. How did that happen?
30 seconds for Sparty here. That's one good rail. He's got some hooks as well, but he takes another rail. Zen almost hits the fadeaway. 25 HP for Sparty, and time is a ticking, Dan. He's got to be perfect right now. He's got to make something happen with 20 seconds. There's the hook around the corner. He tries to hook back for another one, but Zen is just punishing appropriately. There's a good rail, but down to 12 HP, and Zen will plant him again with the LG. And that will be the map, sir. 7-4. Frantic at the end there, but Zen pulls it away.
I mean, That's why he's there and I'm here. Like that play looked very risky when you're tied up. He could have retreated, picked up the weaponry, but decided nail gun was the play, and my lord, nail gun was the play. Had the timing, knew the limit he could go to. Exceptionally well played by Zen again. Had to play around and respect the rail prowess of Sparty, but definitely found his feet, built his way into the game, and just generally had much stronger map control.
Pushing works really well when you can just hit almost everything, Dan. And yeah, Zen was willing to die on that hill near that last heavy. Made it work, and the swing went his way. Unfortunately for Sparty, just couldn't hold his ground. And so big balls from Zen to start off the set today, taking deep embrace in a spectacular fashion there.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this frag again because it seemed questionable. It seemed even Sparty didn't expect the continued push, but it was the right play at the right time. Felt the risk was there, and you know, it's one of those plays, if it didn't pay off, he would have lost the map. So he looks like a genius in this situation.
When it works, you look brilliant.
Right.
When it doesn't, everyone's questioning everything about you. And Sparty taking a little break. He's like, I need a water. I don't know. Little time out there as we take a look at the summary from map number 1. Sparty knows that one got away from him. Yeah. 7-4, the final score for ZenAku. The rail percentage is not too terrible, 43 and 47% respectively for both players. Item control about even, not too shabby. So what do you think was the big differentiation there? Was it just the pure aggression, just the balls on ZenAku to go in and say, this is mine? At certain times of the map?
It was that 4 or 5 minutes in the middle of the map where Zen was able to rotate both major items. You say the items are fairly even, but you can see 13 heavies to 6. That was the big difference for me. Zen was able just to control that heavy area, and because of the larger stack, Sparty couldn't push in. There were obviously some mistakes in the early game for Sparty from a grapple perspective, and it wasn't the best Athena we've ever seen. But it definitely was that level of control and then the confidence to finish off Sparty. But again, that final play could go either way. Across the context of the game, ZenAku was played slightly better.
Indeed, as we will get into map 2 shortly here. Sparty taking a little bit of a breather, it looks like. And I would too. It's rough when you know your opponent is going to push and you just cannot do anything about it again. Unfortunate there for Sparty, but that's why we play a best of 3. So map number 2 could go his way. It's going to be Awoken, Ranger for ZenAku, and Strog for Sparty. In terms of strategy, what do you recommend for Sparty here as he's got to bounce back, Dan?
I'm trying to abuse the speed of the Strog. As mobile as Ranger is, you're not as quick as a Strog. You really need to be getting into his face. Sparty had the upper hand in terms of damage output on map as well. I mean, fairly even on accuracies, but more utility and more use of the rail in particular. So again, we've already pointed out how crucial that's going to be, but then you have the capability to close the gap more consistently than a Ranger. So once that orb is not up, you know, there's a bit of a free reign on the map to use the speed, and that's what we want to see.
Let's take a look at the predictions real quick. 69% in favor of ZenAku. Nice.
All right.
Real nice.
There's some cheeky points that can be thrown Sparty's way here.
We'll see. We'll see if the party is over in the upper bracket, as Sparty one map away from getting knocked into lowers potentially. So pressure is on here. Don't want to start the day in the lower bracket, as again, they're just going to fill out with killers down there, Dan.
Yeah, I don't envy anyone in the lower bracket. We've already got Maxter down there. I mean, even that name on its own is pretty dangerous, but then you've got some other big ones. Dahang was down there as well, CNZs, so people that have been very far into tournaments are already waiting to gobble up who's going to be coming down next.
It's a rough ride down in the lower bracket here, and we'll see who's going to take the rougher ride here on Awoken as we're live. Zen versus Sparty, map number 2. Zen potentially working on a 2-0 here. He is going to grab the rockets, has the Unholy Trinity at his disposal. Sparty working his way towards it as well. So he's waiting above the heavy. Mega's going to be up first. ZenAku superior positioning here in the middle of the map.
Nice delay on the heavy as well. So Sparty taking the initiative. Also 2 rails will set him up perfectly to take away the map. Needs to get the right weaponry. He's pushing in here. Pika comes out as he falls down below. But without a rocket, he's going to struggle to now push onto this Mega. He's going around the long way, but Zen has read it and just cutting off the T-Con. But huge rocket out of nowhere. That will say goodbye to Zen as he goes away, licking his wounds. Will not even be able to show face on this heavy. But Sparty will just consolidate map control at this point. Tries to get a finishing rail, but it is a bit too greedy.
Yeah, actually takes some damage, and now Zen orbs through and steals the heavy. So what a turnaround from ZenAku. Sparty should have gotten that frag, but 2 big rails, and he still has the opportunity here.
Yeah,
Ooh,
nice
another
play
one,
by
1
Zen.
HP.
But Sparty coming out of nowhere, hitting 3 rails back to back and picking up that frag. This is what we want to see. You can see the speed. He's using it extremely well to open up these rail angles, and that's why he's hitting so many. He's using the Strong to quickly create space and get into a rail angle earlier than Zen can do so. That's what you get when you play a champion like Strong.
Oh, and Zen drops right down into some danger here. Wow, okay, Dire Orb after picking up the light. Wow, 1-to-1, Zen with the plays again, but into the rocket.
Okay.
Sparty, right before the Mega. A little bit too crazy here. Sparty's able to stabilize and take the lead again by 1. Good LG from Zanaku going up the jump pad to tri-bolt.
Yeah, that was an unexpected push. Zen going up in to try and defend the mid-ground. Sparty already there, hitting back-to-back rockets, and you can see Zen struggling at this point to play at the speed. Obviously, we've seen the potential of Ranger. The follow-up orb for the burst damage is always going to be prevalent. However, it's everything around that that the Strong brings.
Sparty positioning above the heavy early here, Dan. Oh, and he doesn't hear Zen. That's a free rail. Sparty's got to be upset with that one. Decent rocket to actually keep Zen at bay from the rocket jump. Sparty's just missing out on the heavy. That's catastrophic, I'd say, as Zen tries to rocket jump again and try and get an angle. Nothing doing, but still the stack firmly in Zanaku's advantage, and now Sparty has to wonder what just happened. Can't even really contest for the Mega. No damage to be found.
No, definitely not. It's going to be using the rail. He's also got the Pika if he needs to have the additional burst damage as well. He's got the audio sounds. He hears Zen, jumps that down and scuttles away. He's playing this pretty well. He's got back up to that organic starting stack. Also in a perfect position to hit a rail, which he does. Repositions up on the high ground, but lovely rail for Zen. Woo! Double rail at that. And of course, a bit of anger from Sparty as I don't know how those rails got hit, but there's the Pika. The orbs come out, but it's deflected onto the rock, and it should be a fairly easy pickup for Zen, all things considered. He's delaying the Mega as well, going up to sweep up the other resources ahead of Sparty. Will it come back to haunt him? Yes, Sparty realizes it and picks up... No? What? Oh, he did, but he got railed as well.
Yep, so it's still really weak, and right before the heavy, there's the tickle, and so Sparty tried to make the best of a bad situation, but Zanaku just still so much damage, so much stack, gets that frag, takes the lead by 1.
You can see the uptick in tempo from ZenAku as well. It felt like in the first 2 minutes of the game he was playing a little bit slow. Because of that, the Strong speed was really abusing that fact. But now you can see the rocket jumps coming out. He's playing the map fast, and he's the one catching Sparty a little bit off guard by taking the initiative here.
Sparty going all in, rail to Dire Orb. Zen makes it look easy.
Yeah, that was greedy by Sparty. Almost lucky, or not understanding what he should be doing at that point, and just tried to go for an all-in on the heavy. Now Zen is taking firm control of this map, and Sparty is clutching at straws, trying to take more and more risks, but Zen is ready for it. You can see him there pushing out away from the Mega, trying to extend and cut off any opportunity and any angles from Sparty. Really good map awareness from Zen at this point.
And I like the aggressive use of the rocket jumps. Again, the passive for Ranger, fantastic for that. Pretty much free reign over the map, trying to match the mobility of Sparty and the Strong. Not quite, but just enough to even things out a little bit. Of Zanaku firmly in the lead by 2 here. Positioning pretty well for this Mega. Needs to be careful not to give up too much position, but he's going to push into the T-Con. Dire Orb as well. Sparty's still up in the air. That rocket will miss, but the shotgun will finish him off. 5 HP before the 25 in the Mega. That one was very close, Dan.
Really close indeed. Unfortunately for Sparty, he didn't get the spawn he wanted. He wanted to push that heavy. He knew the damage he had done. But Zen is just playing on another level at this point. You can see him constantly trying to cut off any approach angles from Sparty, and as soon as he's not able to do so, he's out of that space. Yes, he's probably going to have to forfeit this Mega, but he's done his job. He's built himself a good buffer with a 3-frag lead.
Good buffer indeed. Is it good enough to last 4 minutes? As Sparty, again, pressure starting to heat up on Sparty. Upper bracket game, so if he drops, he just drops into the lower, so it's not doomsday, but still. Lower bracket's not where you want to be, and up the stairs against an LG from Zen is not where you want to be, but the rockets, can he turn it around? Good damage dealt from both players there. Sparty Looked a little dire for a second there, but actually comes out on top technically after the 25, and he still melts Zen before the Mega. Dan, that's huge.
Yeah, pinpoint timing by Sparty. He knew exactly when to make his approach. So he's definitely still in this game, and now back onto the board, rail in hand. Maybe it might be a weapon he tries to cut off from Zen. Obviously, spawning at the LG, there's no weapon there, but instead he just decides to chase around the map, and Zen now picks up the rail.
Moving in hot from the T-Con to do damage on this Mega. Misses with the rail as Sparty hits one of his own. The Tri-Bolt not too bad either. Maybe a little bit more as well on the way out. Able to claim the lower armor shard near the drive-through window. Still down by 2. 3 minutes and almost hits that rail through the telly there, but backs up onto the heavy. So good stack for Sparty, but now it's a matter of being on the hunt. Dire Orb available for Zen in case things go wrong. So Sparty has to be careful.
Yeah, Zen didn't compete for that heavy, which means Sparty knows he will make a presence over by this Mega now. He worked out where he is though, and Zen's actually out of position here, so Sparty will push in, hits a rail, nearly hits a second, but just fades out of sight in time. But he understands where his prey is. It's how does he get there without taking too much damage. Zen has to rocket jump away, has the orb if he needs to. Sparty's playing slow here to try and bait out his opponent. Has the Pika, but decides against it and wants to keep the rotation. There's still plenty of time on a map like Awoken, so just got to stick to the basics, not give your opponent an inch.
Tried to get cheeky with the Pika from down below, but Zen deals with it nicely and good rail damage on that Mega. 2 seconds until the pickup, but since it's before the Mega, it doesn't even really matter, Dan, as Sparty able to pick up a clean one here as he replenishes the LG in the rail. Less than 2 minutes to get these 2 frags and tie it up. Ooh, big damage opportunity here. Good rail there. Sparty very weak. Does grab the heavy, so the timing on the items is great in between fights as well. All for Sparty here. Zanaku very weak, hanging on by a thread. There's the movement to get past Zanaku, but the rail defensively. Ooh,
What?
Sparty, what a shot!
Clutch. Minute and a half to go, 40. Sparty in control, got the rotation down here. He's just going to want to pick up this heavy and go on the aggressions. Zen knows how important this is. He did a lot of damage. Sparty actually goes up at the right time, but the rockets from Zen are unbelievable. Sparty gives up ultimately a free frag.
And that just went so wrong. Just a little bit off, and you can tell Sparty not happy. Not happy about it at all. Down 3 now with a minute. Zen just hitting everything. Can he get this frag as well? There's the peeker around the corner. Almost gets the frag.
No.
Machine gun won't do it. Zen says goodbye. Hits a fadeaway rail before the Mega.
Sparty should have known better. I mean, at this level of Quake, you cannot stand on an item and hope for it to spawn. He was at the heavy 10 seconds before it spawned, standing on the heavy. At that point in time, you need to be securing the area. You need to know where your opponent is, and you need to cut off his line of attack. Sparty stood on the heavy, allowed ZenAku free reign to take position, and ultimately it's his mistake. There's no other way to put it. Zen played remarkably this map, but that big mistake at the end has cost Sparty this game.
20 seconds, and Zanaku is just going to play this hyper-defensive game, but he's going to get caught out. There's the Dire Orb to get away, and just a beautiful play with the Dire Orb to buy some time, and time is all he needs. 10 seconds till the victory. Zanaku will take this one 2-0 and stay alive in the upper bracket, sending Sparty to the lower. Zen, crack a VB long neck. You've done it.
You lose. He's done it. And well deserved. But we did say Sparty will put up a challenge, and again, this is 9th place EU going up against 2nd place NA, and Zen had his work cut out. Sparty is not a bogey player for him since he has lost to him before, but has a bogey style, that heavy rail based, heavy aim based. That's why Zen found a bit of a challenge, but we saw all sides of Zen here, and he looks in good form.
Bogey indeed. Well, the birdie told me we're going to bring Wheat back shortly, so whenever he's ready, let's figure out how Wheat feels about everything.
Tweet. Hello. Yeah, you know what? In that last matchup, I mean, there's amazing performance by ZenAku. In the last game, that I think it was for frag number 6 for ZenAku. There was that exchange at the heavy armor, and there was that masterful, double jump. That basically, I don't know what happened there, but it was awesome to see. It was the amazing rockets. You called them out, ZSX from ZenAku, but I don't know. There was just so many interesting exchanges there. Those rails from Sparty at the end. I thought that was going to be the comeback. That was going to bring it all back, but ZenAku still playing well under pressure. And obviously the work he has been putting in the game is definitely being translated well to what we are seeing. So congratulations to him. He definitely deserved that. I am a little surprised that it was a 2-0 victory. I actually thought Sparty was going to bring that back and we'd be going to the third and final game, but congrats to ZenAku.
Your point's spot on, and it's at this level of Quake, everyone's got amazing aim. Everyone knows how to time and understands what a strategy should be, but it's the micro decisions. It's what you do in the split seconds and what you do in certain fights, and that's why it separates the best from the rest. It's what makes Rafa the best, because his constant micro decisions are always on point, always perfect, and always faster than anyone else, and that's what Zen showed here.
Completely agree. I mean, it wasn't as rail-based as I had thought. Sparty, again, as Wheat mentioned, some good reels near the end there that almost made you think he was going to get back into it, and then Zen just comes back, shuts it down at that timing flub, we can call it, at heavy, and just unfortunate there for Sparty.
And that we do know that means that ZenAku will go on to face Cypher later on today. You're not going to have to wait too long for that. That is definitely a matchup I'm excited for. And as these brackets start to fill up, gentlemen, it's going to get more and more rowdy here in day 2. Coming up next, we've got Kilson making his debut here in the QPL World Championship with his game versus Waz, who made it in through relegation yesterday during our challenger matches in the morning, and now will have to fight the same players that he's going to inevitably go up against. So we're going to take a quick break. Thank you, 40 Lions and ZSX. When we come back, it's going to be Kilson versus Waz here to continue our coverage of the QPL World Championship. Don't go away.